Hello students, till now we studied about different types of tissues on the basis of their origin and composition. Now in this class I am going to explain about different types of tissue systems on the basis of their structure and location, that is position. Okay, so types of tissue systems. So tissue systems are divided into three types on the basis of their structure and on the basis of their position, that is location present in plant body. These three different types of tissue systems are epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system and vascular tissue system. Epidermal tissue system, I am writing it as TS, tissue system, and then ground tissue system and vascular tissue system. Okay, so this epidermal tissue system forms the outermost covering of all the plant organs. So epidermal tissue system is forms the outermost covering of all the plant bodies, all the plant organs, outermost covering of all plant organs. That is called epidermal tissue system. And this epidermal tissue system consists of two components. Those two components are epidermis and epidermal appendages, right? So it consists of two components. They are epidermis and epidermal appendages, right? Epidermal appendages. Okay, vascular tissue system. Vascular tissue system generally forms the center part of plant organs. And this vascular tissue system is made up of complex tissues. It consists of complex tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Consists of complex tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem, which are forming vascular bundles, right? Okay, so ground tissue system. So all other tissues present in plant body except epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue system constitutes ground tissue system. So all other tissues present in plant body except epidermis and vascular tissues, epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue system, all other tissues present in plant body together comprises or constitutes ground tissue system. So ground tissue system is the tissue system present in plant body except epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue system, right? Okay, so this ground tissue system includes three components. They are cortex, pericycle and pith. So this cortex can be subdivided into subzones called hypodermis, general cortex and endodermis. General cortex, general I am writing as G, general cortex and endodermis, right? So now in this class I am going to deal with epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue system, and I will be dealing with this, I will be explaining about this ground tissue system in the next videos, next lectures, when I am dealing with anatomy of, that is transverse section of dicot stem, monocot stem, dicot root and monocot root, and even leaf and both the leaves, longitudinal sections of leaves, dicot leaf and monocot leaf. But now in this class I am going to explain about epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue systems. Okay, let's start with epidermal tissue system now. So epidermal tissue system consists of epidermis and epidermal elongations. Epidermal tissue system. Tissue system, I am writing it as TS. Okay, it consists of what? Epidermis and epidermal elongations. What are these epidermal elongations? Epidermal elongations are root hairs present in the epidermis of root and stem hairs, that is trichomes present in the epidermis of stem. So epidermal elongations. Let's start with epidermis. So this epidermis consists of stomata also in it. So while dealing with this epidermis, I will also explain about stomata present in dicots and monocots. Right? Singular is stoma, plural is stomata. Okay, let's start with epidermis. So this epidermis is the outermost covering of all the plant organs. It forms the outermost covering of all plant organs. Epidermis forms outermost covering of all plant organs, and it is made of living cells, living parenchymatous cells which are thin walled. It is made of living cells, living thin walled cells which are parenchymatous. Thin walled cells which are parenchymatous. And in the aerial parts of the plant, epidermis consists of a waxy layer above it. So, in the aerial parts of the plant, what are the aerial parts of the plant? Stem and leaf. So, the epidermis present in stems and leaves, that is aerial parts of the leaf, is covered by leaves. Aerial part of the plants are covered by a waxy layer. Waxy layer. So, epidermis present in the aerial parts of the plant, that is in the epidermis of, above the epidermis of stem and even in leaves, waxy layer, waxy coating is present, which is called cuticle. Cuticle. So, how this waxy layer is formed? Because of the secretion of epidermal cells. Because the epidermal cells are going to secrete a waxy substance, fatty substance, which is waxy in nature. That waxy substance called cutin. Hence, it is called as cuticle. So, epidermal cells present in epidermis secrete a fatty substance which is waxy in nature, which is called cutin, and hence it is involved in the formation of a layer above the epidermis called cuticle. So, what is the function of this cuticle? Function of cuticle is to reduce the rate of transpiration, that is water loss. It is involved in reducing the rate of transpiration, and this cuticle is absent in the epidermis of roots. Above the epidermis of roots, cuticle is absent. It is present only above the epidermis of stem and leaves, that is aerial parts of the plant. And generally, this epidermis is generally single layered. So, generally it is single layered, and in some plants it can be multi-layered. Generally, it is single layered, but in some plants it can be multi-layered. So, it can also be more than one layer, that is multi-layered in some plants, like xerophytic plants like nerium, and even in ficus, that is in the leaves of ficus. Ficus is nothing but banyan tree. Okay, why this epidermis is multi-layered in the xerophytic plants? Because to reduce the rate of transpiration, or to prevent or to reduce the rate of transpiration in xerophytes, this epidermis is multi-layered. And in the epidermis of roots also, in the aerial roots also, in aerial roots of some plants, in aerial roots of plants like orchids, aerial roots of plants like orchids, this epidermis is multi-layered. Why? What is the function of this multi-layered epidermis present in the aerial roots? Its function is to absorb water, not to prevent transpiration, loss of water, but to absorb water. Here to prevent transpiration, here to absorb water. Okay, in this epidermis, pores are present. These pores are nothing but stomata or stoma. Stoma is singular and stomata is plural, right? Now let's study the stoma. Stoma present in dicot leaves, in the epidermis of dicot leaves, and even in young stems of dicots, and in the epidermis of monocot leaves and stems. The stoma are absent in roots, in the epidermis of roots. Let's start with the structure of stomata in case of dicots and monocots.